In today's video, we're looking at some of the best exercises for improving mobility of your low back or lumbar spine. So we're basically looking at the 5 bottom vertebrae of the low back. We've got L5, L4, L3, L2, and L1. So these 5 vertebrae and the discs between make up our lumbar spine or low back. Obviously, we see tons of people with low back pain, just pain in general here, different injuries. So if you're looking for mobility exercises, stay tuned for today's video. So when we're looking at mobility of the low back, we've got to consider all the different movements the low back can do, and there's basically 6 we're going to look at: flexion, extension, left and right rotation, and left and right side bend. So I'm going to show mobility exercises. You can think of these as sort of stretches that you can do throughout the day. I'll show different positions, and again, just exercises you can work. When you think about mobility, you kind of want to do these things every day and as frequently as they help you. So first we'll start with flexion, which is rounding of the low back. One of the best ones you can do is something called child's pose. So you'd get down here on your knees, put your arms out in front of you, and then just rock back. And this will create hip flexion and low back flexion. You can be straight out like this. You can go to either side and kind of stretch flexion to the left and then flexion to the right. This will help to get the back muscles and to stretch the joints. Okay, that's one good way for doing flexion. Another one is to lay on your back. Maybe that child's pose is a little too aggressive or too much strain on your back. Another one is just to lay on your back and pull both knees to your chest. Doing this is kind of like the opposite of what we just did. When we flex our hips, it creates posterior pelvic tilt, and that causes my low back to round into flexion. So both of these create the same type of movement. They round the low back, they take it out of that normal extension curve and improve mobility into flexion. Okay, so that's a second one. And then one just last one, maybe you can't get on the ground or somewhere at work or something where you can't get down on the ground. Obviously, you can also just do sort of like a standing hamstring stretch where you just bend over, kind of reach for your toes. Everybody's pretty familiar with this type of stretch. But just bending over like this creates low back flexion. You can see the curve of my low back goes away and it rounds here. So I can get a hamstring stretch and just stretch my spine into flexion. Okay, so those are 3 options for lumbar flexion. So for extension, again, this is a simple one you can do in standing. I'll also show one on the ground. So the standing one, maybe you're working at a computer, you just want to get up and to stretch into extension. This one's pretty easy. You can just put your hands kind of in the small of your back on your lumbar spine, and then we'll just have people move back into extension. You can hold it a little bit. You can even do kind of repeated extension stretches like this and just hold for a couple of seconds. This one often feels really good if you're sitting a lot. It sort of reverses the position your back is in when you're sitting. And then another really good one is the Cobra Stretch. So this one, you'd be down on your stomach, and if you're down on your stomach, depending on how flexible your low back is, the first option is just to come up onto your forearms and kind of stretch here. Another one that feels really good if you've been sitting for a long time, if you're on a long car drive or a flight, doing these kind of stretches after is usually really helpful. So you can start here, and then you can go all the way up to your hands if you've got that kind of mobility in your low back. My low back is pretty flexible this direction from gymnastics, but just find the position that works for you, and those are 2 stretches for lumbar extension. Next is low back side bend or lateral flexion. This is one that most patients aren't aware of, so it's a good one to add in. The easy way to do this one is just standing. So you're going to put your hands down at your side, and you're going to go to the right and the left, and you're just looking at how far can you slide your arm down your leg. Now, sort of normal mobility of this is to get your hand all the way down here, kind of to the outside of your knee. So there's a little bony spot right there on the fibular head. That's what you want your middle finger to sort of reach towards. So you're creating this C curve in your back. So you go to the right and then slide your left arm down. Now this one feels quite a bit tighter, and you'll probably notice asymmetries in yourself, but I'm definitely tighter going to the left. This takes quite a bit more work. So that's the idea, is just you can kind of go from side to side, do a little stretch. It'll stretch your obliques and some of your low back muscles on the opposite side, and then again to the other. So with all these, maybe you shoot for 3 to 5 repetitions, hold for 15 to 20 seconds, and again, try to do them every day. All right, last we've got rotation of the low back. We're going to do right and left again. There's going to be 2 options for this. The first one is a seated option. So what you'll do, this is the way people often pop their low back. So if it does pop and you do this, that's okay. It might even feel kind of good. You're gonna have your legs out straight, I'm going to put my one leg over the other, so I'm going to do my right leg over my left, and then I'm going to reach across with my left arm, put my elbow on that knee, and then push into it so I can kind of turn and look behind myself. So you're kind of trying to look all the way back behind. Hold that again for 15 to 20 seconds. And then when you switch to the other side, just the exact opposite procedure. Cross the leg over, arm goes across, and your elbow kind of hits your knee, so you can push into that and create some leverage, and then turn as far as you can. And this one always feels pretty amazing for me. It just loosens my back up. Okay, so that is a seated lumbar rotation. And then the one lying down, you lie down, bring one knee up, grab it with the opposite hand on the knee, and then pull it over to the side. This one is, again, very similar to how we as practitioners would manipulate or adjust someone's low back, kind of in a position like this. So hold, go to one direction, reset, lift the leg up, reach across to the opposite arm, grab the knee, and then pull it over to get that good rotation stretch. Okay, all right, you guys, so those are some of the best low back mobility exercises you can do. Again, you want to think about all the movements a low back can do. So we've got flexion, extension, right and left side bend, and right and left rotation. If you've got any questions, put them in the comment section and I'll get back to you. All right, you guys, see you next time. Bye.